Hi everyone, it's Professor Smith. This past week, you've been reading all about the importance of engaging students with literature. And in this video, we're going to talk about the importance of a good book talk. So a book talk is what I consider kind of like a good movie trailer, where after you see that really great movie trailer and you're just dying to watch that movie, a great book talk makes makes students so excited to pick up a book that you suggested, or perhaps the book that they're assigned to read. A book talk can make all the difference, okay? A great book talk is very individual. Each person, based on what you are like as a speaker, can make a book talk their own. But there's some do's and don'ts that I wanted to share with you, and know that after I go through them, I will also have a document available to you so you can read them on your own if you want to think about them more. But the first thing is, you want to keep a book talk short. No longer than 5 minutes. And for your assignment, it's only going to be 3 minutes. After that amount of time, students' attention wander. So you want to keep it short and exciting. Okay. When you're doing a book talk, you never want to read it from notes that you have in front of you. You need to have that book talk memorized, because then it feels like it's coming from your heart, and it feels like you know that book and you're sharing that book secret with this student, and they're so excited about you sharing this with them. So again, no notes are allowed when you're doing book talks. Other things to include is that you always need to include the title and the author of the book. You want to give, at the start of the book talk, it needs to be something that grabs a student's attention. Now, some of them can be super shocking, some of them fascinating. Sometimes you post a question. Sometimes I start a book talk maybe with a passage from the text that's particularly engaging, or sometimes you can talk in first person as if you're a character from the book. So there's a lot of different strategies to get students excited or interested in that book. So you want to have that really strong beginning. Within the book talk, you also need to have a brief summary of what's in the book. But of course, spoilers are a big no-no. No spoilers are allowed. So remember, you're not telling the whole story. You're just giving a little taste of what's to come, kind of like in a movie preview. A good movie preview doesn't tell you the whole movie. I never like the ones where you're like, well, I don't need to go to the movie because I've seen it all in the trailer. You want the ones where you just see enough that what's your desire, so you just have to see, you have to read that book. So a little portion of the story to get students excited is really what you need to focus on. You can also make sure that at the end you've kind of got a strong ending, that you know where you're going to end, so you can keep going. I often like to also include, maybe if you liked the book The Hunger Games, this book is for you. So if they kind of have a reference to a type of book, or maybe if you say, if you like books where the blood is dripping from the pages, this is your book. You might want to think about giving them some ideas, or if you liked this TV show, you might really like this book. This book is The Bachelorette plus The Hunger Games together. It sounds weird, but it works. That's for a really good book called The Selection, which some of you may have read. But so think about maybe some type of connection to that book. You can also add a little bit. Obviously, you aren't book talking the book unless you really like it. And so you can say oh, this was just my favorite, add some personal touches to it as well. Make sure when you tell it, I know I talk fast, but make sure, be aware of how fast you're talking. Sometimes it's a problem my students must deal with. But be cognizant in the real world of your audience. If I was talking to EL students or younger grades, I would want to make sure that I was taking my time so that I wasn't overwhelming them with what I was saying, but it was still interesting. So be aware of that as well. Another thing is, again, sometimes it can be good to write out for yourself, but again, you got to memorize it and practice it so that you feel confident doing it. So I'm going to show you a few book talks that I have that I consider some of my best ones that employ different strategies. Okay. And I always like to have a copy of the book. And if you don't have a copy, you can always, for our project, it just at least have maybe a printout of the cover if you can, if possible. If you can't, I understand we're living in crazy times, but I like to have a copy, or at least the cover of the book in hand. Welcome to Hell. Hell is Furnace Prison, a prison located 1 mile beneath the surface of the earth and designed to house the world's most violent juvenile offenders. In hell, the prison guards aren't quite human, and you never know who is going to disappear and never be seen from again. Now, Alex is being sent to hell because he was convicted of murdering his best friend. And although he's been in trouble with the law before, in this, he is innocent. But how does he escape hell? And if Alex can't figure a way out, he will be the next to disappear. Lockdown by Alexander Gordon Smith, a book that has been one of the most popular horror stories with my students for years. So that's one where you do like a shocking thing, because when I say that first line, my students are always like, oh, she said hell! But again, it draws their attention in. This book gets checked out in droves, and a lot of guys who haven't really found a book they've liked find a series that they can spend the year reading and enjoying. Another strategy I like to do is to read a section of the book. And again, usually it's got to be something really engaging. So this is Female of the Species by Mindy McGinnis. Let me introduce you to our main character, Alex. This is how I kill someone. I learn his habits. I know his schedule. It is not difficult. His life consists of quick stops to the dollar store for a bare minimum of things required to keep the cycle going, with his hat pulled down over his eyes so as not to be recognized. But he is. It's a small town. I know this pattern, and I watch it anyway. The bread, the cheese, the wine, the crackers that he sometimes will crumble and put out for the birds. A tiny crack of kindness that makes him all the more hateful. Because if there's a version of him that feeds the bird as winter descends, then there is a decency that he chose to overlook when he did other things. Other things that also fed the birds, and the hawks, and the raccoons, and the coyotes. All the animals that took mouthfuls of my sister, destroying any chance of proving he killed her. But I'm not a court, and I don't need proof. This is how I kill someone. He's lonely, so when I stop for the first time ever, I almost feel bad when his face lights up. I lie and say I'm winded and need to sit down for a minute. A part of him knows he shouldn't do this. The part that crumbles up crackers and feeds them to the birds knows he shouldn't bring me out of the sun into the darkness of his house. But the other part wants to, and it's much stronger. I go smiling when he holds the screen door open for me. It makes my nose scrunch up and draws attention to my freckles, which everyone says makes me so cute. They have no idea. I walk inside the cool shadows, pretending not to hear when he flicks the lock on the screen door. Then I turn around and tell him who I am. This is how I kill someone. And I don't feel bad about it. Find out about what Alex does and why in Female of the Species by Mindy McGinnis. Again, you can see working with teenagers. Mine are a lot more shocking than They would be maybe for middle school or elementary students, but it's a great way to get students excited about a book. All right, I'm going to do one of my favorite newest mysteries that just came out, and I don't have the book, so I'm showing you a copy, as another one where I go and talk in first person. This is A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. 5 years ago, a murder happened in my little sleepy small town. Popular senior Annie Bell was murdered, and her boyfriend by her boyfriend Sal Sinch, who committed suicide a few days later. Although they never found Andy's body, and Sal's guilt was never proven in court, everyone knew he did it. Everyone but me. I have always believed that Sal is innocent. So when I had a chance to choose my senior thesis, I knew exactly what I was going to choose. I wanted to re-examine the case. I promised my principal I wouldn't actually interview anyone involved. I'd just look at any records that the police or the newspapers printed. I lied. I will do anything to find out the truth, even if it kills me. Okay, I screwed up a little bit in the middle there because obviously this is a newer one for me. But you can kind of see it's kind of fun to put it in first person. It makes it so much more exciting and immediate. So that's another suggestion. So for your project, what I want you to do is, again, create a 3-minute book trailer. It can be no more than 3 minutes. And I want you to post it on Flipgrid. I'm going to send you the link and the information, and it will be on the LMS, and it will also be in your email. And so you can do it about any chapter book or graphic novel that is for children, tweens, or teens. And it could be something you read this semester for my class or another class, or it could be anything else that you've read in the past. So I just want you to get practice creating a book trailer that will get your students excited about a book that you loved. And again, I'm going to post some those directions, and you can always refer to my video, but I'm very excited to see what you create.